Hey, I'm Kyle, and I'm back on the road using FSD, and I thought this would be a great time to give you some of my thoughts on my experiences with FSD, how it's impacted my life, and where this is all headed. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. As you can see, I'm traveling down the highway and I'm fulfilling my duty of looking forward. That's all I have to do right now. It's a wonderful modern convenience, especially on some of these long trips. I've had some very extensive trips in the car lately. One was over 4,000 miles in less than a week. I really wouldn't have been able to do that so easily if it weren't for technologies like FSD. They're releasing new features all the time. You may have heard of Actually Smart Summon or ASS. That's a feature where the car will come to you or go to a pin. In the near future, we may have features where the car will go find its own parking space in a parking lot. You may be able to send it somewhere. There's all kinds of interesting concepts that will be rolled out with full autonomous vehicles once somebody doesn't even have to be involved, even as minimally as I'm involved right now. In the future, what we might be seeing, we're getting kind of a glimpse of these robo taxis, robo van. These new vehicles that Tesla has announced, they actually don't have controls. So your interface is the app on your phone. It's kind of like ordering an Uber, even if it's your own car. It'll pick you up and take you to a destination. Um, I do think that's a wonderful new world. Now, are we there yet? Not exactly. We're super close. I'm very trusting of what this does. And I would say most of my gripes and nitpicks about this are possible gripes that anyone might have with someone not them driving. It's easy to be critical of somebody else and how they handle a maneuver, but generally the car gets you where you need to go without too much difficulty. I personally really rely on it when I'm in a city that I've never been in before. I was recently down in Texas and Louisiana for the very first time. I didn't know the cities. I didn't know the ins and outs. And I know we've all got GPS, but the car getting you in the right lane, managing one-way roads, it just kind of reduces the stress. As you can see, I actually just changed lanes here while I'm talking to you all. It's quite easy, and it allows me to go for a long duration of time. I really like to use this technology for road trips. For example, I'm on a 4 hour trip. It's Thanksgiving of all things, and I'm gonna go see my mom and stepfather. So this trip is gonna go by quite easily with the help of this technology. I really like to use this technology on long road trips, whether it be going from Michigan all the way down to Florida or this last trip of DC to Texas. Those are very long trips, and again, I'm less involved, so I'm more refreshed. I can go for a longer duration of time. I believe I had a 17-hour day of driving on the way to Texas, and just saying that makes me cringe. But it wasn't awful. It really wasn't awful, and we made a lot of progress. With the setup that I have, you go as far as you want, and maybe until you get tired. And then when you get tired, you pull over, you find a rest stop, a hotel parking lot, a Cracker Barrel for that matter. Sleep as long or as short as you want, and then get back on the road. It's really easy. Um, I used to plan a bunch of hotel stops along a route, but then I felt a lot of pressure to get somewhere. And to not have a schedule, to be able to stop where I want, where we feel like it. We get hungry and we see something tasty, just pull over. So it allows a degree of freedom that I didn't have previously. The bed is fantastic. Whether I'm, taking a cat nap, or I'm gonna sleep for a long period of time, I'm happy to sleep back there. It's very private inside here. We've got window blinds that are blackouts, so when we put those up in the car, no one can see in. We can see out if we turn on Sentry mode and look at the cameras, which is convenient. We've done that a few times. But with the blinds in, the car looks, from the outside, it kind of looks like limo tint. The windows are just black. So it's very stealth. It's innocuous. No one's gonna see that you're a camper van with the bumper pulled out and the air conditioning running with your blinds pulled across the front windshield. This literally, it just looks like limo tint. So we can camp in stealth and right out in the open, and most people would never know. Um, Being able to use these technologies has really been fantastic for me to visit friends, family, see some of the sights of the country that I've never seen before. It opens up a lot of possibilities for travel and leisure. When I think about my parents, they're in their 70s. My mom happens to have a Model Y. I'm actually comforted in the fact that, she can have the car take her to the hospital if need be. She can get to and from doctor's appointments, without thinking of it. She can get to my sister's house, even though it's a little bit of a drive right now, and not really think about being tired, or getting sleepy behind the wheel because the car's more in control. I find that as everyone ages, we may want to consider these things. At my age, I love having the ability of the car being able to take me from spot to spot. So if you're unfamiliar with Teslas, you might be asking, how does this FSD thing work? What do you do? So when you get in your car, the first thing you do, they kind of have to get used to, is entering a destination before you ever put it in drive, before you decide to take off. A lot of times in the past, I used to just jump in my car, start going down the road, and whether I had, a favorite or whatever in my GPS, it's kind of easy to maybe maneuver going down the road. Um, the latest version of FSD activity monitoring doesn't really like you to stare at the screen for too long. So you're going to likely get in the habit of entering a destination on the GPS before you ever put it in drive. From there, the car is going to figure out not only the route, but it will calculate any charging needed along the way and automatically put those along the route, or alter your route so that you can find chargers in the fastest way possible to get to your destination. You don't have to know where anything is at all. It will map everything for you. You just push down on the stalk for one pole, and that will ding, and you'll get your little blue line. So not only will you have your GPS map overlay, but your screen is split to show a little version of your car and then a blue line projected. That's the car's projected path that it's going to travel as it goes down the road. And what you'll see is that path will curve. It's kind of giving you some forewarning of what it sees. It also is going to show other vehicles, stop signs, trash cans, people, bicyclists, things that it can see and pick up. It's going to display on the screen for you as it navigates around. Now, like I said, you'll put in simply put in a destination. I can be anywhere in the continental United States and push the home button, and my car will route all of the supercharges necessary to get home. I don't have to think twice about really any of the logistics behind that. I get to now just be along for the ride. So again, I am fulfilling my duties by looking forward. There is in-camera or in-cabin camera located right here, which is watching me as it's driving down the road. My sole responsibility is supervision. So I am watching what it's doing. I'm watching what it's showing me on the screen for what it will do in the future. And more importantly, I'm here for that odd case where that kind of freezes up. Sometimes FSD acts like a nervous teenager, and I'm not sure where I'm going to go, so it kind of stops. So in some of those cases or instances, it's really easy to just take control, either by grabbing the steering wheel or tapping the brakes. For example, I can take control just by moving the steering wheel that way, but you heard that the car didn't like it. I did not signal. I looked that there was nobody behind me, but I did not signal. In order to make a valid lane change, the car wants to see a signal before crossing the lines. Otherwise, it tries to intervene and hold you in your lane, or just avoid an accident in some way or another. Honestly, this car does better, complains less when I let it drive. When I drive my own car, sometimes I like to hit an apex in a turn, and it thinks I'm getting a little too close to the line, so it wants to kind of bark at me. I find it easiest just to let the car do its thing. Again, it may not drive the way I drive, but it's perfectly acceptable. Now, here's another example. I'm going to get the car into the other lane just by requesting the turn signal, and there you go. It makes the lane change all by itself. And now traffic can flow around me because 12 miles an hour over the posted speed limit is not fast enough in Baltimore. Anyways, let me slow Pearl down, and we'll get back with it. So I am on FSD version 12.5.4.2. What I've noticed in this software release is a few very interesting things. It does appear that the car is maybe starting to look for potholes. I really appreciate that. There was a time where the car would try to very much lane center, and sometimes the potholes are just right where the wheels are going to be. So it's nice that it's starting to do a little bit of dodging. I'm also seeing some small animal detection. Believe it or not, my car flinched because a bird flew in front of it the other day. I found that to actually be fascinating. In general, the way that FSD works is it's going to size an object and give it a vector, a direction for where it's headed. And if that's going to be in the path of the car, it will stop, swerve, or do a maneuver around it, apparently. I can tell you I've had a deer run out in front of my car, and I don't think the brakes even tapped. However, there was a raccoon running down the road a few months ago, and the car very politely went around it. So it's done some interesting things, and as we get software releases, this thing does evolve and have some new tricks. You might ask yourself, what does someone use FSD for on the day-to-day basis? And really, there are some fun use cases. My favorite, honestly, is going out for ice cream. How often do you go to grab ice cream and bring it home only for it to be halfway melted by the time you get home? In this case, I can go and I can either eat the ice cream on the way home, or I can take my girlfriend with me, and we can both eat ice cream while the car is driving back. Um, Honestly, a lot of the fun things for me lately have centered around food. You know, being able to be able to eat, to start to do some other things other than purely just driving. I find that very appealing. Another thing that I use FSD for is again navigating towns and cities that I've never been in before. Um, the reason I do that is twofold. One, it can be a stressor when you're trying to go in a new city and there's maybe one-way streets, some other signage that maybe you're not familiar with. Just not knowing your way around can be a big stressor. But the other one really is that I get to be a sightseer. When the car is driving in a new city, I'm looking out the windows. I'm checking out the frescoes on the buildings around me. I'm able to be a passenger in my own car and enjoy more of my surroundings as I go through them. FSD itself has a number of settings, as you might imagine, but some of its most basic are three levels of aggression. You have chill, average, and I hear it's now going to be called hurry. I believe right now it is assertive. So I'm driving in assertive mode right now with minimal lane changes on. That helps keep the car in one lane as opposed to continually whether it be passing or ducking in around people. Um, these three settings are the easiest to modify. You can use the right scroll wheel to tab right or left in order to go through those different levels of aggression. And effectively, that will adjust how much faster the car goes over this posted speed limit. So chill will only be a couple miles an hour over the speed limit. It'll also accelerate very slowly and chill from the start. Effectively, if you never want to spill your drink or your coffee while you're in the car, you might as well put it in chill mode. So right here we've got another fun benefit of FSD. I am sitting in traffic on Highway 95, somewhere between Baltimore and Philadelphia. It is not fun to be in traffic. I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes lose my mind in heavy traffic. There's just so much to pay attention to, so much going on. It's a big stressor. Now, FSD is managing everything right now, and as you can see, we're in a pretty heavy amount of traffic. So the car is, looking behind us in case someone might want to be rear-ending someone. It's looking for brake lights. It's doing all the check-in and all the stuff. And I'm kind of chill. I get to just kind of relax while it does its thing. To some, this alone might be worth the value proposition for FSD. Right here, no stress, just chilling, and the car's working its way through. So I used ASS the other day to pull the car around from the parking lot to pick us up from a restaurant where we had dinner. We were able to keep an eye on the car the whole time, and the car backed out of a parking space and went the proper way around the parking lot counterclockwise, found its way through a traffic circle just to pick us up and stopped right in front. So really neat feature. It's something fun to talk to people about. Some people are like, hey, that car doesn't have anyone in it and it's driving. So yeah, fun conversation starter. And as the weather is getting colder and colder, I think I might be using that feature a little bit more. If you'd like, more pointers on how to use ASS, you may want to check out my car camping video where I use ASS in the campground setting. You'll definitely want to see that. I've had FSD all the way back to 10.69. Remember that? Maybe not. I think that was over 2 years ago. So back then, there was this long process where the car had to monitor my driving for a period of months before I got access to the beta program. And then once I did in 10.69, it was very rudimentary compared to what it is today. You certainly had to have a hand on the steering wheel. And generally, there were a lot of disengagements back in the day. In particular, it did not like road construction. It tended to want to stay on the painted road lines, regardless of wherever traffic needed to flow during construction. So, a little bit of hair-raising activities there. But now in 12.5.4.2, it is very refined. It's doing a lot of human-like things. It's not perfect yet, but my gosh, I don't have to intervene very often. I get to just take advantage of it and doing its thing. Great example, we're getting off the highway right now, which is somewhat complex maneuver. And again, I'm supervising. I get to watch and make sure that it's not doing anything weird. Um, when I go on a trip or I go to see somebody, I'm less stressed. I'm more refreshed. Today is Thanksgiving, so by the time I show up, I'll be ready to join the party, have a great time, and I won't be my usual grumpy self from being stuck in traffic. That's a godsend.